and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Are you struggling to sleep at night? Have you heard of Sleep Cream? Sleep Cream is a revolutionary new product made of all natural ingredients and with pure CBD. You simply rub it on sensitive skin areas right before bed. You will feel relaxed in a matter of minutes and you will get the best sleep you've had in years. I know I have. You may have heard all kinds of mixed messages about CBD, but Sleep Cream only uses pharmaceutical grade pure CBD crystals with 0 THC. And it's made right here in the USA. So if you want an all natural way to sleep better, you must try Sleep Cream. Best of all, it's guaranteed to work or your money back. No questions asked. Just try it for yourself. And with its 100% money back guarantee, you have nothing to lose except more sleepless nights. Go to sleepcream.com. That's sleepcreme.com. And you can use code November24 at checkout to save $24 on your first order. If you're ready for the best sleep ever, go to sleepcream.com. That's sleepcreme.com. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. I'm truly honored because tonight we are joined by podcaster, motivational speaker, author of Reconnected, How 7 Screen-Free Weeks with Monks and Amish Farmers Helped Me Recover the Lost Art of Being Human, as well as happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
The book is out on September 10th. Carlos Whittaker. Carlos, thank you. Happy belated. We know that you just celebrated a birthday. Oh. I'm a birthday fan. I love celebrating birthdays. Are you one who likes a birthday? Let me start with that.
Well, let's go ahead and just say, I celebrate my birthday for a week. Like it is just like my kids know, hey, it's Dad's birthday week. I am a king for a week, and then I'm their servants again. But yeah, I'm a big birthday guy. I love it.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, birthdays are special. I always like to celebrate them and acknowledge them. So yeah. Happy birthday. And you fall right in between my kids. My daughter just had a birthday. She just turned 5. And my son in about a week is turning 7. Oh, so wow. How old are your kids?
My kids are 18. They're a little older. So they're 18, 20, and 21.
Okay. Well, if you made it this far, that bodes well for me. You know what I mean?
Right. You got it, Laura. You got it. I promise. You got it.
So tell me about where did the idea come from to have the 7 screen-free weeks and then to maybe take it just a scotch further with the Monks and Amish, Carlos? Tell me about this. It's amazing.
Well, if people know me, they know I always take things a little farther than I probably should. And you know, Laura, how we get the notification on Sundays, right? That it comes across our phones and it's trying to shame us into not looking at our phones. It's like, you have averaged 7 hours and 23
minutes. Oh, it's the worst. I'm like, I was on a plane. What do you want from me? Yeah.
What do you expect, right? And so every time I see that, I'm like, okay, well, this is my job. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. This is what I do. But Laura, what I did was I did the math, and the math started messing with me. I said, okay, how much is 7 hours and 23 minutes a day equal a week? That's 49 hours a week, which is 2 days a week. I'm looking at my phone.
Crazy.
Then I kept doing the math, which equals 3 months a year. So now I've lost 3 months of my year. And then I kept doing the math. If I live to be 85 years old, I'll lose over a decade of my life.
Looking at a phone.
At a phone, right? And so that was disgusting to me. So I said, you know what? Just like you said, I take things to the extreme. Let me see what would happen if I don't look at a phone or any screen. So I didn't look at a phone, an Apple Watch, an iPad, a TV, a laptop, nothing for 7 weeks. And this is a guy that makes his living on screens, right? And I got my brain scanned by a neuroscientist before and after to see what the difference was. And in the middle, I lived with 20 Benedictine monks in the high desert of Southern California. And then I lived with an Amish sheep farming family in Holmes County, Ohio. And let me just tell you, this black man has never farmed on a sheep farm. And I could shear a freaking sheep if it came walking through my door right now. So I've got new life skills. Yeah, I got new life skills I never thought I'd have. But it absolutely changed my life, and I'm better for it.
Well, okay, so tell me about the brain scan. What do we need to know?
Okay, so here's the deal. I got my brain scan at 7.5 hours a day. And being on my phone, and my brain scan showed it showed it was pretty lumpy. Dr. Daniel Amen, who scanned my brain, said, "You see all these lumps? I think we can try to smooth these out." Now, this wasn't a scientific experiment, correct? But it was just me. I was the only data point. So it's not like there was a test, other subjects. And he said, let's take a cognitive memory test as well. So my father actually has dementia. So there's just something that I'm into, like, brain health and trying to make sure that I defeat that in my family line. And so I did the cognitive memory score where they flash all these faces and numbers in front of you, and you have to remember. And I landed in the 50th percentile. So I was like average Joe. Then 7 weeks later, when I'm done, I do my brain scan again. Here's the kicker. My cerebellum healed about 5 years in those 7 weeks. And my cerebellum is the cerebellum is the largest part of my brain. But here's the kicker. My cognitive memory score, I ended up at the 99th percentile of memory. Yes, 99 percentile. So those 7 weeks, it changed a lot for me. The first 4 days were torture, everything you'd imagine. Heart palpitations, I'm sweating. I was just, like, I'm addicted. We're all addicted.
I was going to say it's an addiction. I was going to ask you, how long did it take really for the adjustment? Because I know that, like, my husband and I will go out to dinner together, and, like, no shade at Eric Trump, but I see him, we make a pact sometimes, Carlos, and we're like, all right, no phones. You got to do it sometimes. Otherwise, you really aren't engaged in the moment with the people you're with, right? Because you're always thinking about, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. And I noticed it's like a reflexive thing. He'll, like, go to grab his phone, and I'm like, oh my God, we're all addicted to these phones. So what was that adjustment like? It took you like 4 days?
4 days. So I would say that the first 4 days was horrible, because we're actually not addicted to our phones. What I realize is we're addicted to knowledge. We're addicted just to knowing stuff, and knowing leads to control, right? And then we feel like we're in more control than we actually are. And so those first 4 days, heart palpitations, night sweats, literally like anxiety symptoms. And my neuroscientist doctor friend said, you were coming off of the drug of knowledge. You were coming off of the drug of control. After 4 days, though, Laura, it literally felt like, I don't know if anyone has asthma, but I have asthma. And when you're having an asthma attack and then you take a hit of an inhaler, you go from not being able to breathe to being able to breathe, and it feels it's the best feeling in the world. That's what it felt like on day 4.
Wow.
I felt like I could breathe again. And then it went from being an experiment about a phone. It was only for 4 days I only thought about a phone. The rest of the 6.5 weeks, it was an experiment about wonder, about noticing, about relationships, about community, about disagreeing over meals. Yet you're having long meals so you can disagree and then find other things you agree on. Like, it was so beautiful.
How nice is that? Imagine, Carlos, we all took a page out of that. That sounds lovely. I've had the experience sometimes. I feel like everybody has this, where I've left my phone. I'm off to pick up my kids or take them somewhere or whatever it is. I'm going to the grocery store, and you leave your phone at home, and it's like an hour. And initially I'm always like, oh, like, you panicked. Oh, I don't have time to go back and get it. Whatever. Right. I'm going to suffer through this. I'm going to make it the next hour. Like, it's actually ridiculous when you think about it. But then what I find is it's actually such a freeing thing to do. Now, I know in my mind, when I get home, the phone will be there, and, my husband's at home or whatever. I've got somebody with my kids, so there's no panic. But at the same time, it's a very freeing experience. And I always think about, and I know we as parents are constantly thinking about our kids, right?
Yes.
You hear about all the situations, keeping the phones out of schools. I mean, to me, that goes without saying. There's no doubt that should happen. But talk to me a little bit about how maybe you changed, or maybe you already were in this place. You're thinking whenever it comes to limiting the exposure for our children to screens, because I'll tell you, it's very tough. My kids get 15 minutes if they have a great day out of the whole day to look at a screen. And then other than that, I'm like, I do my dad, his name is Bob. I pull a Bob, and I'm like, get out of the house. I don't care what you do. Just get out, go outside.
I love it.
But what did this show you as it relates to our kids? Let's face it, kids have brains that are developing at a rapid rate. Knowing what you know, what do you think now?
The average American kid spends 8 minutes a day outside, and they spend 6 hours a day on a screen.
Oh my God!
I feel like that's all I need to say, right? Like that. That's where we're at in this country. And my mom used to literally kick my brother and me outside, put a 2-liter
Yes.
Diet Coke, and lock the door. And she's like, I will unlock that door at 5 p.m., and like get the kids outside. But when it comes to screens, like, I'm a senior in high school. It's my last kid to graduate. My wife and I tell everybody when they're like, oh, you're about to empty nest, like, what would you do differently? And we say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we would wait even longer to give them screens. Wait as long as you can before you literally give them this world imploding device for them to figure out on a day-to-day basis.
So at what age did you actually allow your kids to have like their own phone or iPad or something that they can access all the time?
I think our girls were 15 and they got like dumb phones. And then at 16, we didn't allow them social media until they were like in college. I mean, like they didn't have smart. Like, just because they're developing. And this was what was beautiful about the Amish. It was an aha moment for me. I used to drive through like Amish land and I see horse and buggies and I see these little Amish kids walking around and I'd look at those kids, Laura, and I was like, oh, those poor kids. Right. Like as I'm driving, like they don't have access to anything. They don't know. They don't know. And then when I lived with the Amish and I saw little Lane, who I like fell in love with, I'm like Uncle Carlos to him now. And this little Lane knows how to like horseshoe horses and he knows how to like farm the fields and all these things. And then I would sit there with Lane and his family and we'd be sipping our coffee at night. These minivans would drive by us with these tourists in it. And the kids are in the backseat of the car looking at their iPads. I'll never forget when I looked at those kids and I go, oh, those poor kids. Like it's switched, right? It's switched. And I just think that less is more when it comes to screens.
100%. It's so challenging though. Look, my kids, as I said, are right now they're 5 and 6, almost 5 and 7. And so I have full control over everything in terms of screens with them right now. But I know friends of mine who have older kids are really grappling with when do you get your kid a phone? Because let's face it, all these kids at school already have phones. And so they're the ones without, and you're a loser and you don't have this and that. And I mean, I'm expecting, Carlos, I'm going to be the mom who my kids, when they come home, are going to be like, everybody else has it but me. And I'm going to be like, well, too bad that that's not your mom. That I'm anticipating. But I think we kind of have to, right? Going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your keys in your car while you run into the gas station. Most of the time, you're probably fine. But what if you come back and see someone driving off with your car? Every time you connect to a public Wi-Fi network, like in cafes, hotels, or airports, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data, passwords, bank logins, credit card details. That's why I use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. You just fire up the app on your phone, laptop, or tablet, click one button, and that's it. You're protected. It's easy to take your online safety for granted until it's too late. Being proactive can save you a lot of future upset and headaches. Secure your online data today by using the #1 rated ExpressVPN by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. Visit expressvpn.com/Trump. That's expressvpn.com/Trump, and you can get an extra 3 months for free. You've asked and MyPillow listened. They're finally bringing you the most requested offer ever. Right now, you can get the queen size premium MyPillow for only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill, and it adjusts to your exact individual needs, regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long, so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get their 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets for only $25, the brand new mattress topper for as low as $69.98, and their famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25, and so much more. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code Trump to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That is the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today and use promo code Trump.
Not only do you have to, but I mean, it's worth being the lame parent for their brain development and their soul development. It is worth it for us to be like, you know what, this is going to be who we are. Here's the other kicker. Like, I would rather teach my kids about phones while they're under my roof, as opposed to just wait till they're 18, send them out and be like, okay, now you're going to get a phone, figure it out on your own, right? So like, there's a balance. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you don't want them to have screens, but you also want to be the ones that to teach them about screens, to
Be
teach them how it is
responsible
to,
with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
be responsible with it.
Well,
So,
by the way, the you just said the word soul,
mm,
and that's true. I
it,
feel like the soul gets sucked right out of you when you're fully immersed in a device, right?
yeah,
It's so easy to do. And look, we're trying to develop human beings here. I'm trying
mhm,
to raise two great
yes,
humans who
yes,
give back to their society and
yeah,
culture and the whole
yeah.
thing. And I don't want the soul sucking like coming right out of them because of these screens. But whenever you went and lived with the monks and then you lived with the Amish, which by the way, I have to ask, what was there one that was more of a culture shock to you? Like how were those experiences? Sounds amazing,
Oh,
but there must have been so much. You probably felt like your soul was healed doing that sort of thing. I can only imagine.
you have no idea. I say a phrase, our souls and our psyche were not created with the capacity to consume the amount of content we consume.
Yeah.
Literally, it's damaging to our souls. And so I think there was a lot of culture shock with both, right? The monks, check this out, 23 hours a day of silence for 14
Wow.
days. I went from
Wow.
7 hours on my phone to going insane, right? Like it was, but day 5, when the elephant stepped off my chest, they move at what I call Godspeed. 3 miles an hour. That's how fast a human being moves. So everything in my life slowed down. I started to notice things. I started to savor. I started to have solitude. I started to have like boredom was actually something that I looked forward to. These things that we don't get to do anymore on this side of the screen, the monks taught me. The Amish, on the other hand, it went from moving from like a cave to New York City. The Amish
Yeah,
went
they go
hard.
hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
they went hard. It was
Yes.
like
I
5
have
a.m.
so by the way, I have crazy respect for the work ethic of the
Yes,
Amish people. And I've
yes.
never lived with them, but what I know, what I've learned
Woo.
and I've spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania. I have family
Yeah,
there who lives,
yeah,
right around this.
yeah,
These are people who are, I mean, you can attest to it, Carlos. They're up
yes,
before the sun. They're
yes.
they're working all day long. They're making everything. They're hustling. I mean, right?
They're
Like, but what was that like?
they're hustling, they're working hard, but they're also their community is so important. And what I loved about
Yeah.
the Amish is literally all their decisions about technology, because they're continuing to advance in technology just like any subculture would. They have flip phones now, the business owners do. Why? Well, because their businesses were failing without being able to communicate with their customers, so they had to do that. So what I see the Amish do is they make a decision with every bit of technology. Is this piece of technology going to bring us together as a community or tear us farther apart as a community? That is their litmus test. So for me, now when I add anything into my life, what I learned from the Amish is this going to bring me closer to my community or tear me farther apart from my community? And so, yes, the Amish, their community, the tables, their dinners, an hour and a half long. We were, again, like I said, able to like disagree. And believe it or not, me and the Amish didn't see eye to eye on everything, but we were able to like disagree over our love of food. And the average American meal in 2023 was 13 minutes long. 100 years ago, it was 90 minutes long. And so I
Wow.
think that we've forgotten how to disagree over meals. We've forgotten how to eat together and spend time together. The Amish did that stuff so well. It was mind blowing.
I also think about, there are times where I feel like I'm always behind on everything. I'm always trying to catch up on, if you saw how many unread emails, I'm sorry to everybody out there, unread texts I have, and so if I have a night, where my husband's out of town, I put my kids in
Yeah,
bed and I get to, like, I eat by myself, which by
yeah,
the way, I sort of love the like
yeah.
solitude of that. But I always find, Carlos, I'm like scrolling through and trying to clean out my inbox or whatever it
Sure,
is.
sure.
And there have been times where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put this phone aside and I'm actually going
Uh,
to focus on what I'm eating. And I
yes.
swear, I feel the food tastes better.
Oh,
I'm right. Like,
yes.
can you talk
Yes.
about that?
Yes. No, that's called savoring. I have a
Oh,
whole chapter
see?
in my book about savoring, how we no longer savor anymore. Savoring is when you stop and you're focused and you notice everything about what it is that you're consuming, your taste buds, the coffee. It's why the first cup of coffee, the first day of vacation, tastes so much better than the cup of coffee on the way to work. Why?
No,
Not
you're
because the
right.
coffee's any different. It's just you're savoring it.
Yeah.
And so like savoring is a lost art as well. This book really helps people. I tell people all the time, the book's not about the phone being bad. It's about everything on the other side of the phone being beautiful. And when we learn to savor again, when we learn to, I was in Italy this summer with my family and we were on a road trip and we went to a gas station and my wife was like, hey, get me a cup of coffee to go. So I walk inside and I ordered a cup of coffee and I said, but can I have it to go? And literally the gas station lady looked at me like, to go? And I was like, well, yeah. And I looked down at all these, there was like 6 other people sipping their espressos at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, just savoring it. And I thought, if I don't have 3 minutes to enjoy my espresso out of a ceramic mug, I must be moving too fast. Savor. You're right. We've lost touch with that. And I think when we start doing that, it just makes our mental health better. It makes our hearts better. It makes our souls better. It makes all of us better.
Yeah, it makes you just I feel like a better parent, a better spouse, a better, all the things, right? Because it kind of trains your brain a little bit differently than sadly we're all addicted as we speak. So where can people get the book? Because I feel like sounds like something that you could give to any person.
Yes.
We're speaking of a birthday gift, Christmas gift, whatever. Where can people get the book?
Yes, absolutely. If you go to reconnectedbook.com, if you go now, you can actually get a whole bunch of freebies. I'll give you the first chapter already because the book doesn't come out until September 10th. But also there's a documentary coming out in October. I took a little Sony camera with me. And so the entire time I was gone, I kind of self-documented myself. So I got a documentary coming out as well. And I think it would be
so cool.
It's for such a time as this. And I just feel like everybody is dealing with this pain point. And hopefully I give some people some stuff to think about.
Well, I was going to ask you about any new projects, but obviously the documentary, I can only imagine if you started this, do you have other things on the horizon?
Oh, listen, yes, I am. I'm always dreaming of things. I got the documentary coming. And then next year, I'm kind of doing a whole project on YouTube about curiosity and how curiosity leads to empathy. And then, all of these things that I think we're missing that I learned on the other side of the screen that my Amish friends taught me. So yeah, I'm just trying to, love everybody, make sure that I'm putting hope and positivity into the world. And, as many people as want to jump on board with that, come on, I'll take the more the merrier.
We love that. Any word of advice, like what would you say that if you wanted to encourage someone after this experience, after writing the book, filming now, of course, the documentary, what kind of advice would you give just immediately so that people could take away?
Love it. Here we go. Ready? This is my new morning routine that anybody can change their morning routine right now. Data shows that the last 30 minutes before we go to sleep and the first 30 minutes we wake up, because we use our phones as our alarm clocks, we consume more content than our great-grandparents' generation consumed in a month. And so I think that is actually leading to the rise of anxiety and all these mental health problems. So this is what I do. I went to Target and I bought this really cool thing. It's called an alarm clock. And now I know people never heard of it before. It's the craziest thing. Now I plug my phone in the kitchen and it's charging at night. And all that thing does in the morning, Laura, is it just wakes me up. I don't pick it up and start touching its face and start like rubbing it. It doesn't make me angry. I wake up. Then this is what I do. I go and I have my cup of coffee. And all I do is drink my coffee. I just savor the coffee. And guess what? I love the news. I love seeing what's happening in politics and in the world. So then I don't pick up my phone yet. I still haven't picked up my phone. I walk to my front yard and I pick up this thing that somebody threw in my front yard at like 5:30 in the morning. It's called a newspaper. And I pick it up and I read it. And that's how I get my news. And if something else happens on planet Earth between that morning and the next, I'll find out the next morning. And just that small change in my morning routine has given me more breath than I ever thought I needed. So take some of those things, apply it in your life.
Yeah, I feel relaxed, Carlos. I'm just like listening to the explanation of it. Except, do you know what's funny? As I recently stayed in a hotel, and the outlet that I had to plug my phone into was on the other side of the room.
Okay.
And I had a very early flight, so I was gonna wake up very early. So I was like, God, how is this gonna work? They had an alarm clock beside the bed, and I'm not even joking. I looked at it and I was like, I don't know how the hell to set an alarm clock. How sad is that? Okay, I was born in the 80s.
Yes.
I used to use an alarm clock to wake up for school back in the day.
Back in the day.
I don't even know how to set an alarm clock. That was a really
love
sad commentary on my life and like the
But
moment
it's
that
true.
I was in.
Listen, I love that you're authentic about that because
Yeah.
we all can do this a little bit better. We can all
Yes.
start owning our phones instead of them owning us. And I love that story because it's so true for so many people.
Yeah. And they also have those alarm clocks. Somebody was telling me about this recently that like lights up and it lights your room up naturally. Like
Yes.
it,
No,
it's a
it does.
natural wake up.
And
And you
it
know what
like
I
has
said?
like a pulsing sound. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
imagine not waking up with like heart
Yeah.
palpitations, like but I said to somebody when they were talking to me about this, I was like, well, I just use my phone, but I'm not joking.
Yeah.
After our conversation, Carlos, I'm gonna go buy one of those, and I'm
Go
not
do it.
joking. I'm gonna start moving the phone away. Now I
Yes.
can't say the same for my husband because I mean, but I can speak for myself. I
That's
can
right.
take
No,
this into my own hand.
it just begins to trickle off on everybody else. So yeah,
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, yeah. We'll watch him catch on to you.
Okay.
Next thing you know, he'll be buying alarm
Yeah.
clocks too.
Well, fingers crossed. Carlos Whittaker, what an incredible combo. What
Oh,
and
thank you,
just
friend.
a positive vibe I'm getting through the screen
Mm.
here. But I think it's wonderful. If people want to follow you, learn more about things coming up, where can they
Yeah.
find you?
Yeah, probably the place to hang out with me the most is on Instagram at Loswhit, LOSWHIT. I'm hanging out there all the time, trying to spread all the good vibes that you're feeling on here as well.
Yeah. It's coming through. It's coming through. I hope
Oh,
everybody at home is feeling it.
I love
But
it. I love it.
you've been awesome. What just cool all around. And I really appreciate you hanging out and
Thank
spending
you.
some time with us here today. So
Thank you.
thank you very, very much. And to everybody at home, as always, thanks for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. And we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide. And they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.